Welcome back to the channel. Well, this is what I would do if I was Boeing's consultant, Boeing's advisor. Uh, First, I would say let's go through the facts. So, as we know, Boeing has been facing a lot of bad press, a lot of negative reviews, a lot of the sentiment, the public sentiment is actually going towards the negativity, and a lot of people are starting to question Boeing's quality. So a lot of people have taken notice of Boeing's lack of security, Boeing's lack of airplane security. A lot of Boeing aircrafts have crashed or had delays or had certain problems when it came to takeoff or when it came to a smooth flight. So, all in all, it also brought light to the massive market that Boeing has. And if we look here, we can see the Boeing, they have about, so they are trading at 157 right now, and it's a clear downturn from, let's see, the 6 months chart. So 6 months ago, they were charting at 203 USD. A year ago, it's a steady decline ever since. And I believe it really picked up, the steady decline really picked up when they had the negative news, which all throughout the year, it's been pretty negative, I would say. And once public sentiment has formed an opinion based on your company, it's really hard to change it. And it's really important for the whole board and for everyone to get together and to really figure out either how PR can save it or how they can sort of sway the agenda or the narrative into a more positive shift. But with Boeing, since Boeing is such a reputable company and so many people have a direct connection with it by having flown on Boeings or having recently discovered how many aircrafts Boeing actually supplies or owns or makes, it really is a tough sell, right? And once you have a certain narrative in people's minds, it will be even harder to actually change it. Now, what is the problem with all of this? What do I see as a problem is we think some companies are too big to fail, right? Like Boeing is too big to fail, but that's not the case. If we see here from 2019, their stock was more than double, right? It was trading at almost more than double. Now, a lot of these big company guys can actually fail. If the narrative gets too bad and shareholders don't want to be associated with the company no more, and other companies don't want to do no partnerships. For example, imagine aircrafts and airlines would pull back on Boeing, and the narrative would be so strong that whoever has a Boeing aircraft would be an unsafe bet, or would be an unsafe, or would be a risk to freaking flyers, to flyers all across the board. It could have a massive negative impact on Boeing because people will go look at what they are flying on, and they will start tracking, and they will start looking, okay, shit, my Ryanair flight or my Delta flight, is it a Boeing? And if it is, they might choose to go with it. Another airline, which in turn harms, and which in turn the other airlines will suffer from. So Boeing could quickly lose its reputation, quickly dwell down, and quickly lose its business. Plus, you'll have stockholders who are selling off or trying to get out. It's the last man standing race, and the only real way that I personally if I was Boeing's advisor or consultant, which I'm far from it, but who knows? Hopefully someday, maybe. But this is what I would do, right? Because here, let's look at these news. Recent news is Boeing Starliner returns to Earth without astronauts, and that's another massive, massive point. As news has broken that Boeing sent astronauts into space and that there was a malfunction, it furthermore indicates to the public and it furthermore drives the public narrative of Boeing being an unreliable company. Imagine being sent to space and then being stuck there because the company that sent you to space is not reliable or because they have a malfunction. Now, this is massive negative press. And on top of the whole already snowball effect, this is just like the final shot, the final kick, you know? And if I was Boeing, I would be panicking right now because then you have Tesla on the other side coming and Elon Musk saying, "Look, we can go get the astronauts." For Elon Musk, it's amazing because he can furthermore position himself as one of the strongholds in this specific category and industry and make it so people think of Tesla as a reliable company, right? And as something they can bet on. And Boeing as the opposite, right? Which is horrible for Boeing, but terrific for Tesla and anyone else that's trying to get market share, right? So this, like news like this cannot come out. If I'm on Boeing's board, this is like terrible, especially on BBC. It's been on different mainstream news coverages, which is horrible, right? Now, you have a lot of people. I bet the average age of the Boeing board or of the Boeing consultants is probably in the range of 50 to 70 years old, right? So one thing I would tell the Boeing board, my solution would be, first of all, in the first step, you could go towards TikTok, towards social media, and build a Boeing aircraft step by step live. Show the process. Have people go behind the scenes and really dissect every step and show, look, this is how much care we put into our products. Boeing recently also had a narrative of people and whistleblowers coming out saying they would not even fly on the aircrafts and they are the ones making it. So that's the core root problem. I would go into this I would go and delve into this subject and problem and make sure to dissect it, but publicly, because you have to regain public trust first, right? You have to change the narrative in everyone's brains. So why not show exactly how reliable Boeing is by opening up all the doors and showing you how much we value your security, right? You literally take a camera or hire a camera crew, right? Go to a Boeing facility or wherever you build it and show step by step. Take the highest materials, the highest quality materials. Also, make sure you have specialists on board, specialists that are actually passionate about their work, and they can explain on camera why this is better than this and why this is so reliable and so secure and why it's in this position and why you do this. And it might be boring, right? But you can use social media creators, content creators to make it fun, to make the narrative fun. You thought Boeing is so unreliable. Well, this is what actually goes into the process of building this aircraft that you sit on, right? And why it is reliable. And this is why the narrative is wrong. We will actually expose it. We'll expose ourselves to regain your trust, right? That's one way I would attack it. And I would make sure this is in every news media coverage because we know people need to see something at least 7 times to really process it. and I would make sure it's in every news and the same news sources that post negativity. I would make sure it's in every one of them. And especially on TikTok, I would regain popularity through social media, through being an account that makes jokes sometimes, right? But not no jokes that go against the narrative, right? Jokes that play into the narrative, right? Making it critical, right? And maybe even targeting a younger demographic so they in turn associate Boeing with being reliable. And this does counter acting on the narrative that their parents, that their teachers, that their bosses, that whoever might have in their mind. Look, Boeing, did you see what Boeing did? Who is the demographic that reads BBC mostly? Who is the demographic that reads all these news medias? Elderly people, right? If you have a counteractive narrative going with the younger demographic by actually having exposed and shown the process, because they are good at detecting bullshit, right? And they know news, media, BBC are not reliable sources all the time. But if it's everywhere, they will believe it because they are not interested enough. Let's keep it real. They are not interested enough to go deeper into it. And they see the shares tanking. They see Elon Musk, who is very socially reputable, right? Talking about we can do it. We can go get the astronauts because Tesla is a company that has not only benefited from Elon Musk's social presence and narrative control and reputation, but from his stronghold on the youth as well, because the youth associate Elon Musk with a Steve Jobs, but a cool Steve Jobs, a Steve Jobs that's kind of relatable, a Steve Jobs that talks to them, a Steve Jobs that's accessible, right? And who is the born CEO? We don't know, right? So you have to you can't just say, look, our born CEO is going to become Elon Musk. No, you have to take the brand and rebrand it into something friendly that goes for everyone, that goes to the media, that goes to the younger demographic, and the younger demographic will counter the older demographics narrative. Thus, when they show them, look, this is what we see on our phone. Look, this is how look, this is how Boeing is made. You see, look. No, it's cool. They really are secure. Immediate switch, immediate. And you should sit down as a board and take a really 6 to 1 year plan and strategy to attack on every front. Right? You should first of all see what the actual narrative is for each demographic, because you are a company that is in the airline business, right? An aircraft and major shareholder in the business, right? And so you are targeting, basically, you have the whole market, right? Me as a new dad, I'm not a new dad, but I'm saying as a young dad, would I take my 1-year-old kid, 2-year-old child on an aircraft and I read it's a Boeing aircraft and all I know is negativity? I know there's a higher chance of us crashing going on a Boeing aircraft than it is on taking literally any other aircraft. I would never. I would even go with a cheaper option if that means the probability of a crash and of death is lower. So you have to assess the risk, right? And we all do it naturally, especially with the narrative and the agenda and whatever the sentiment we have in our head, it will play a role in our decision making. Now, once you start losing reputation and massive amounts of reputation, you'll have a hard time turning it back. If it goes too long, if the narrative cements itself into society, then you will have a tough time coming back, because during the time that you waiting, you have other companies exploiting your weakness and trying to gain as much market share as possible, right? And some companies might, during this time, develop a new strategy or a new security feature that can outcompete you by miles. So it's imperative that you take action, right? But don't take action over hasty or over. Don't take action without thinking about a broad plan, right? And look at the history, how things have turned out. You don't want your company to crash, but you could save it. It's a massive company. You already have the net worth. You already have the money, right? So it's easy. It's a rebrand, right? And you can sway negativity to positivity. It's both poles, right? And you used to be on the fence. You used to be in the middle. People used to not really give a fuck. They used to not think about, oh, it's a Boeing or it's a no. But now with social media, with these outlets, it has come to people's attention that whatever brand the aircraft is might have an impact on how well it's produced and how well it's manufactured. Thus, my solution, like I said, would be to sit down, create a 6 to 12 month strategy on how to rebrand. Plus, and this is the very important step, actually making sure it's safer. Diving deep into what is being said about the company and what is being said that's terrible and that's unsafe and if it takes money, invest it, right? Invest it. Make sure your aircraft is one of the most secure possible. Make sure the wings, make sure they are beautiful. And whatever boats, maybe you invent a whole new type of boat that has never been there before. You hire scientists, you hire inventors, and you create a new patent and you expose it and you say, look, this is what we did now. And this is why our wings are even better now. They outperform the whole market. They are better than any other company out there. And this in turn will create a whole new narrative. But Boeing actually does care about us. What do the other companies do? We don't know. But now we know Boeing actually tries, right? And this in turn could save not only the public sentiment and narrative, but also the inner workings of the company. And I think one terrible way is I see a lot of companies hire new CEOs, fire the old CEOs, make a whole new team shift. That's not good. People love familiarity. So what it shows people is, look, okay, we didn't know what we did. We hired some people that were unreliable. Now we got rid of them and we hired a new team who might not be as familiar with our processes, who might not be as familiar with how we operate. But fine, we did a whole rehire. We gave our CEO $100 million. Now he's happy, he's focused. But that only shows the public and it only gives the public sentiment less trust because now they don't even have a strong hold on, they were bad at first and now they're trying to get better. No, the bad people or the bad leadership got fired and now there's a whole new leadership that we don't even know about. We don't even know how they run it. They might be worse. But we can only see it in 3 to 6 months, in 2 years. What if another headline comes out? Oh, the CEO is embezzling money. Or no. Stick with the same team and make sure you root out apples, the bad apples, right? And then change it. And in turn, it should, if we go back to the stock, it should go right back to what it was. And even higher within 5 years, 5 to 10 years, even higher, right? If we look at Airbus, they are more stable. Look, they're stable. They are trending in a stable Peace. 5 years, they on the 5 year turn, they are pretty stable, right? And it looks like they're about to grow. And the more Boeing fails, the more all these other companies are going to grow. So, just my 2 cents. You do with it what you want. Subscribe and like. And if you want to consult with me, if you have a company that's from $0, a startup, you're trying to grow, or if you have a company that's already established and you want to just give my 2 cents, get a consultation, you can write me. You can book a meeting in the link. You can hit my email. It will also be in the description. Or you can comment and we'll reach out to you. But yeah, I wish you guys all of the best. Have a great and blessed day. And that's it. See you, Hudson. Bye.